By the third year of my marriage to Aaron, his attitude towards me had become increasingly cold. At my birthday party, ignoring the fact that I had diligently practiced the opening dance for half a month, he bowed and invited his former crush, Leah, to dance instead. Leah placed her hand on his, shooting me a look of contempt. "Sister, I'm borrowing your husband. You don't mind, do you?" Aaron didn't even look back at me. "Don't worry about her. Watch your step." Surrounded by strange looks, my fingernails dug into my palms. Pretending to have dignity was utterly pointless. I abruptly stood up and overturned the table. Under Aaron's shocked and angry gaze, I took off my wedding ring and hurled it at his face. Might as well go crazy. In the brightly lit ballroom, Aaron, stained with food and drink, shielded Leah behind him and roared, "Lauren, what the hell is wrong with you?" Leah peeked out from behind him, her voice trembling with feigned fear. "Sister, what's wrong? Let's talk this through nicely. Don't be so crazy." Crazy. They called me crazy. Bathed in the disgusted and fearful glances of those around me, I felt as if I were being stabbed with needles. My hands were shaking slightly. I took a shallow breath, tucking my hands behind my back, and glared at the perfect-looking couple before me. My vision momentarily blurred. I saw a fleeting image of that summer years ago, when a still immature young man shielded me behind him. Blinking, the memory fractured, and I clearly saw the now mature Aaron shielding someone else, looking at me with cold anger. A continuous ringing sound filled my ears. Aaron looked furious, his lips moving as he spoke words I couldn't discern, but his expression clearly indicated he was blaming me. I exhaled. Crazy. Good. Wasn't this breakdown better than being trapped in a cold, loveless marriage, desperately trying to maintain appearances and putting on a fake smile? As you can see, I ripped off the wedding ring I had worn for 3 years and threw it with all my might at Aaron's face. "I'll have my breakdown, and you two can have your dance. I wish you both could dance hand in hand into a dumpster and rot and stink together." Aaron didn't register what hit him. He instinctively just pulled Leah further behind him. "Lauren, don't be so malicious." "Sister." Unwilling to listen to another word, I turned and walked out. Outside, the rain poured down. The building wasn't far from the house Aaron and I shared, so I could quickly walk back. I thought calmly, stepping into the rain without hesitation. But deep within my heart, an unstoppable well of grievance and despair surged up, tears mixing with the rain on my face. I couldn't even maintain the last shred of my dignity. This marriage I had desperately clung to ended in complete embarrassment. I had lost all my composure, but for the first time in a long time, I felt a profound sense of relief. I returned to the house we'd lived in for 3 years, quickly changed, and started packing my things. I didn't have many possessions here that belonged solely to me. For the first 2 years of our marriage, our relationship was still good. He knew I loved delicate handicrafts, so he accompanied me everywhere to collect them. He always insisted on buying too, saying that the items in the house should be like their owners' matching couple sets. I had survived the cold nights he spent away by guarding those trinkets. I walked past those shelves, taking none of them. I didn't want a single item connected to him. I went into the bathroom and quickly applied light makeup, concealing the traces of my tears. Regardless of the marriage's failure, I would always remain the most respectable Lauren. As I left with my suitcase, I ran into the next-door neighbor, Mrs. Smith, who was just returning home. The elevator had gone up. I pressed the button, standing straight-backed as I waited. Mrs. Smith glanced at the suitcase by my feet and hesitated. "Lauren, dear. Where are you off to?" Where was I off to? Her question caught me off guard. I married Aaron right after graduation. Leaving this house, I truly had nowhere else to go. I thought for a moment, then smiled at Mrs. Smith. "To a hotel." Mrs. Smith looked even more hesitant. "Are you and Aaron having a little quarrel?" "No." I shook my head gently. "We are preparing to divorce." The elevator arrived. I smiled politely at the astonished Mrs. Smith, picked up my suitcase, and stepped inside. Her surprise was expected. After all, she knew better than anyone how hard I had worked to forcibly maintain appearances over the past year. I cared deeply about my dignity and refused to show even a hint of disarray to the outside world. So, when I first noticed unfamiliar perfume scents frequently clinging to Aaron, I felt a momentary panic deep down. Yet, I forced myself to remain calm, asking him to be mindful of his proximity to other women. Aaron irritably threw his jacket down. I told you it was an accident. Can you stop being so suspicious? It's annoying. We had a huge argument. I dug my nails into my palms to stifle my pain, deciding to go out to clear my head, and ran right into Mrs. Smith. Perhaps our fight had been too loud. She stammered. Did you and Aaron have a fight? My heart pounded, but I automatically flashed my most perfect smile. No, just a small disagreement over a TV show. Sorry if we disturbed you. Auntie. Later. Aaron started coming home later and later. On my birthday, he didn't come home at all. I sat alone, guarding the dinner I had carefully prepared. I watched the clock hand slowly move halfway around the dial, the light outside gradually overtaking the interior. He truly didn't come back. I washed the weariness from my face and went out to buy breakfast, running into Mrs. Smith, who was returning from her morning walk. Mrs. Smith chattered about her grandson, then hesitated. Aaron didn't come home yesterday, did he? My son got back late and temporarily used your parking space, but he never needed to move it. My hand trembled involuntarily, but I smiled lightly. Yes, he had an emergency work commitment yesterday. I told him to sleep at the office. Maybe she believed me. Maybe she didn't. It wasn't until Aaron hadn't been home for a long time that she finally asked, "Is there some conflict between you and Aaron?" I'm older, dear. Maybe I can help. A ringing sound boomed in my head, yet I still smiled gracefully. No, we're doing great. He's just traveling for work recently. I heard my voice shake slightly. Staying in a hotel for too long wasn't practical. Taking advantage of Friday after work, I scheduled viewings with a real estate agent, planning to rent a place near my company. Just as I exited the company building, I saw a familiar car. Seeing me, Aaron got out of the car. The tall, handsome man standing next to the luxury car attracted many eyes. A colleague nudged me playfully. Your husband's here to pick you up. I'll head out then. I looked at Aaron, who was approaching, and smiled as I waved goodbye to my colleague. See you tomorrow. Aaron had clearly heard the colleague's teasing. He glanced at me twice, wearing an I knew it expression, and spoke in a condescending tone. It's been 3 days. Have you thrown your tantrum long enough? You were completely out of line the other night, but Leah is kind and won't hold it against you. Go apologize to her, and we can put this whole thing behind us. Leah has been dancing since she was little. Wasn't it more fitting for me to dance the opening number with her? Stop being so petty. I looked at him with cold eyes, as if viewing a stranger. Aaron didn't notice, continuing to talk. You also need to apologize to the guests who attended the birthday party. Do you realize how rude your outburst was? It was completely undignified. I let out a sneer. They maintained their dignity. But what about mine? Aaron frowned at me. What dignity do you want? Didn't you lose control first? I laughed out loud. Even in utter despair, layers of disappointment can still fall. If you want to push someone into the abyss, the malice is endless. Aaron, you know better than anyone how much I value dignity. Since I can remember, I was selling vegetables on a messy street. I would squat by the stall, wrapped in dirty, gray clothes. People who passed by would feel pity and stop. My mother could sell a little more produce. The more money she earned each day, the less she would scold me. But this tactic only worked for a few years. Regular customers noticed that no matter how much they bought, the skinny little girl by the stall still wore the same ragged clothes year after year. The vendors on the same street also gossiped. They said the woman selling vegetables deliberately refused to buy clothes for her child, making her look pitiful to gain sympathy. I didn't understand the words, but I felt the needle prick of malice in their eyes. The most painful look came from my mother. When she realized the tactic was failing, she became angry and whipped me with the rattan used to tie the vegetables. The rattan left fiery marks on my body. I cried out and ducked, my wails echoing across half the street. Finally, someone couldn't stand it. Don't hit the child. I'll buy some vegetables. My mother discovered a new strategy. She made me cry by the stall and intercept passers-by. Auntie, uncle, please buy some vegetables. Our vegetables are so good. I didn't want to stop people, but if I didn't, my mother would beat me. Customers who were frequently stopped avoided me like the plague. Vendors whose business I stole hated me bitterly. When we returned home, My mother still scolded me, calling me a useless burden who couldn't bring in enough customers, and forbade me from eating dinner. I curled up in a corner away from the light, listening to my mother count money and curse me on her bed. The curses droned in my ears. I pressed my rumbling, hungry stomach, lay on my straw mat, and slowly fell asleep. I knew my mother hated me. The day I was born, my father was rushing back, drove while fatigued, and died in a car crash. My mother left the operating room only to hear the news of her husband's death. She cried and cursed, calling me a curse, saying I killed my father, and she should have strangled me at birth. The nurses stopped her from hurting me. She reluctantly took me home. My mother hated me, except when we were pretending to be pitiful outside. She forbade me from calling her mother. She didn't buy me new clothes, wouldn't let me sleep in her bed, and didn't let me go to school. She originally intended to starve me to death until she realized I could help her earn a little more money. But these methods weren't sustainable. Later, my mother dressed up carefully every day. Everyone started calling her the vegetable-selling beauty. I looked up at this fierce, beautiful woman. I was afraid of her, but she was my mother. It didn't matter if I was ugly. As long as my mother was pretty, the fame of the vegetable-selling beauty spread. Finally, one day, she happily packed up the stall early and came home. A strange man held my mother's hand, helping her pack our belongings. They carried bags and suitcases and cheerfully walked out the door. An inexplicable panic rose in my heart. I grabbed my mother's coat hem. "Mom, where are you going?" My mother wrenched free. "I am not your mother," I cried, running after them, asking where she was going, begging her to take me. When we reached the street where she sold vegetables, she turned impatiently and shoved me down. "Stop following me. Get lost." I fell to the ground, hurting and scared. I suddenly remembered my mother once kneeling on the ground, begging to exchange me for my father's life. I struggled up, knelt before my mother, sobbing uncontrollably. "Mom, please don't abandon me. Take me with you." "Okay." My mother was furious. She kicked me down. I said, "I'm not your mother. You shameless little burden. Get as far away as possible." She kicked me hard again and hurriedly walked away with the man. Afraid I would follow, I lay on the ground, my face smashed into the foul sewage, too painful to get up. I gasped for air, lying there like a slaughtered animal, exposed to the pointing fingers of others. People gathered around, watching and whispering, their pitying eyes falling on me like I was an ant. The continuous ringing sound filled my ears. I trembled, trying to cover my ears, remembering the years of compassionate or disgusted looks. I felt a body-wide, stinging pain. My final thought was, I must always be respectable from now on. I would never be discarded like garbage again, never be judged or commented on by others, never show a trace of distress. I wanted dignity. Aaron was the only person who knew my past. He once understood me perfectly and always gave me the dignity I craved. That's why I desperately clung to a tattered marriage. But not anymore. I folded my arms and looked at Aaron. "Are you done talking? Since you came here today, I'll let you know, we are getting a divorce." Aaron froze, as if he hadn't heard clearly. "What did you say?" "The divorce papers will be drafted and sent to you within the next couple of days. Let's meet at the Civic Affairs Bureau at 10 o'clock next Monday morning." I turned to leave. Aaron chased after me in a few steps, grabbing my arm. "Lauren, what fresh madness is this?" I reflexively pulled my arm free with force. "I'm not crazy." Aaron examined me, playing hard to get. "Huh. Do you think threatening divorce means you don't have to apologize to Leah?" I laughed in exasperation. "Mr. Aaron, if you can't hear clearly, go see a doctor for your ears. Please be polite and don't get in my way." The real estate agent was waiting for me not far away. Just as I took a step, I heard Aaron say behind me, "There's a limit to how crazy you can act. You better not regret this." I sneered and quickly walked towards the agent. The agent enthusiastically greeted me, then couldn't help but glance back at Aaron. "Ms. Lauren, is that your admirer? He's quite handsome." I clenched my hand, took a deep breath. "No, my ex-husband." The agent froze, seemingly unsure what to say, and finally managed a strained sentence. "Haha. Well, he seems eager. Is he trying to reconcile?" "No, he cheated, and he's here to make me apologize to his mistress." The agent's face went green. His face was filled with regret. I am so sorry, Ms. Lauren. Please don't take anything I just said to heart. I have some secure housing options I can show you. I smiled, slowly relaxing my clenched hand. It's fine. It didn't seem so painful to admit it. Not having to over-pretend felt quite liberating. At 10 in the morning, Aaron showed up at the Civil Affairs Bureau exactly on time. I presented 2 copies of the divorce agreement. You looked at the document I sent over the weekend. Right. If there are no issues, sign it so we can finalize the paperwork. Aaron looked at me intensely. Are you serious about divorcing? I felt confused. Otherwise, hurry up and sign so we can process the paperwork. I'm in a rush. Aaron's gaze fell on the divorce agreement. My signature was already there. All that was missing was his. He was silent for a while, then lifted his eyes and stared fixedly at my face. I want to divorce you. I didn't understand. Aaron, why are you stalling at this stage? He ignored me, speaking to himself. Why do you want a divorce? We clearly love each other. There's no one in the world who understands us better than we do. Lauren, you're throwing a tantrum again, aren't you? I looked up at him. That was in the past. Now it's time to divorce. That wasn't the past. Aaron's emotions suddenly escalated. He grabbed my arm. Lauren, we are in love. I remember all your little habits. You hate vegetables. I have to make them into fruit and vegetable juices for you to drink. You love new clothes. I buy you lots of beautiful outfits. Yes, he understood me best. As a child, I only ate rotten vegetables that couldn't be sold, which is why I hated vegetables. To ensure I got vitamins, Aaron researched many delicious fruit and vegetable juice recipes, coaxing me to drink them. I used to wear the same clothes for years, which is why I loved clean, beautiful new clothes. Even just trying them on made me happy. Aaron patiently accompanied me, trying on outfit after outfit, always complimenting me in different ways. I was reluctant to marry at first. My mother's madness after losing her husband made me afraid of marriage. It was Aaron's meticulous love and care that softened me, making me believe that marrying him would be wonderful. That's why I fought to maintain this marriage, because I once loved Aaron. But the long, empty, lonely nights gradually eroded all that love. Watching him list these things, I found it laughable. That was in the past. Aaron, I don't love you anymore. Aaron's actions instantly froze. Aaron, I don't love you anymore. Stop tormenting each other. Let's divorce. Aaron shook his head. No, you're lying. He tore the divorce agreement into tiny pieces. I won't divorce you. You can't possibly stop loving me. You're just being stubborn because of Leah. Just a tantrum. Yes, you're just mad about Leah. You're jealous. Aaron's eyes lit up, as if grasping a lifesaver. Leah and I have nothing going on. I still love you. If you don't like me dancing with her, I won't. There. Calm down. Let's go home. I stepped back, looking at the shredded paper floating to the ground. Aaron, you tear up 1 copy, and I can print 100 more. Stop these futile actions. As for you and Leah, I don't care. Or are you thinking of using her as evidence of infidelity so I can claim more assets? Aaron raised his voice. I didn't cheat. Leah and I never did anything inappropriate. You just misunderstood. It'll change. I didn't want to argue anymore. I turned and got into my car. I don't care. If you refuse to sign the papers, I will file for divorce. Leah showed up just as I was discussing a newly opened restaurant with a colleague. Seeing her blocking the company entrance, I tried to walk past without looking at her. Sister Lauren, please wait. Seeing the people around us look over, I regretfully patted my colleague's hand, signaling her to leave first. What is it? Leah's face held a smug yet false smile. Sister Lauren, there's something I want to talk to you about. Could you do me the honor of grabbing a coffee? I walked past her. The place next door will do. Leah seemed pleased. She sat down and ordered a coffee, along with a few desserts. Aren't you having anything? Sister Lauren, no need. The sight of you spoils my appetite. Get to the point. Leah's smile faltered for a moment. You really live up to your reputation for smashing tables in public. Sister Lauren, you speak so aggressively. I sneered. I guess I wasn't aggressive enough. I should have smashed the cup on your head to let you know that even if I am aggressive, you shouldn't speak to me that way. Leah struggled to maintain her smile after my repeated barps. Lauren, you can only manage verbal attacks. I hear Aaron is divorcing you. I'm surprised you look so composed. She lowered her voice. Losing all your dignity like that. Aren't you heartbroken? My breath hitched. How did Leah know? Did Aaron tell her even this? A searing pain spread through my heart. I dug my fingers into my palm, forcibly suppressing the slight tremor in my hand. I looked up and saw Leah watching my expression. I let out a breath. I threw out trash. Why would I be heartbroken? It didn't matter what she knew. I had already had my breakdown, and the world didn't collapse because of it. I was no longer the person I used to be. In front of an enemy, I would never bow my head again. The ringing in my ears slowly subsided. I smiled sweetly. You should hurry him along to finalize the divorce. Don't let him be so useless he can't even manage that. Leah's face darkened. Don't try to provoke me. Lauren, you're the one who shouldn't regret this. Why did everyone insist I would regret it? I stood up, looking down at Leah. I hope the same for you too. I walked past Leah, whispering, don't forget my blessing to you both. I wish you could dance hand in hand into a dumpster and rot and stink together. Aaron started sending bouquets of flowers to my office. Just like when we were first dating. We didn't have much money then, but Aaron would often bring me a fresh flower. He said I deserved everything anyone else had. Now, looking at the vibrant, large bouquet of roses in my arms, I felt no joy. He still remembered I liked roses best. But that was a year ago, during our year of silent hostility. I had come to prefer lilies. My colleague accepted the flowers I gifted her and laughed. RMS. Lauren has too much charm. 3 years into marriage, and you still have admirers sending you flowers. I shook my head. A person who ignores the recipient's wishes isn't an admirer. It's harassment. After a week of sending flowers, Aaron finally couldn't hold back and waited at the company entrance with roses himself. He was handsome, and when he walked over holding the flowers, there were small gasps in the crowd. My colleague excitedly nudged me. Did your husband find out someone was sending you flowers and rush here to stake his claim? He's the one sending the flowers. My colleague looked confused, seemingly recalling my actions of giving away all the flowers that week. Are you two fighting? Is he here to make up? Aaron had already reached us. I turned to my colleague, speaking every word clearly. We are getting a divorce. The mistress is the one who came looking for me 2 days ago. My colleague's face went dark. She clearly remembered Leah's arrogant demeanor. She glared fiercely at the pale-faced Aaron and linked arms with me. Scumbags. Move aside. Don't waste our time getting lunch. Seeing her righteous indignation, I felt a softening in my heart. It wasn't so hard to admit to a failed relationship. After all, it was much easier than maintaining a glittering facade while secretly swallowing bitterness. Aaron stopped us, his voice trembling slightly. This is a misunderstanding. There is no mistress. Please step aside. My colleague gave him an awkward look. It's probably not good for me to listen in. I'll wait for you nearby. If anything goes wrong, I'll rush right back. Once the colleague left, Aaron seemed to relax slightly. His face was pale. I know you misunderstood me and Leah, but nothing happened between us. I stayed at the office the nights I didn't come home. I didn't even know she came to see you. I remained silent. It was my fault for letting you misunderstand. Lauren, I was wrong. I was just hoping you would come looking for me more actively. You know Leah and I are impossible. I would never be with her. Lauren, can we start over? We can't. I spoke softly but firmly. Aaron, what did I do wrong to have you tear away all my dignity, only to be rewarded with your charity of love? Aaron's breathing grew rapid, and he looked unsteady. Yes, we understood each other too well. Not only did he know I needed dignity, but I also knew he needed it. Aaron and Leah were high school classmates. The proud, carefree boy fell for the shy girl sitting next to him. He pursued her openly, bringing her water and food, jogging with her, and standing with her during detention. He made sure the entire school knew he was pouring out his affection. The boy thought his pursuit was close to success, but the girl secretly had someone else in her heart. She quietly told everyone that the boy deeply troubled her, and everyone watched him silently, laughing at him. The passionate boy wrote pages of love letters. The next day, the letters appeared on the principal's desk. He was punished by having to read his love letter and self-criticism aloud during the flag-raising ceremony. The universal laughter made him wish the ground would swallow him. Worse, his parents were summoned to school. The boy's family was very strict. He was shouted at for being an embarrassment and subjected to harsh family discipline. The boy angrily ran away from home. He found the girl's house, begged her to deny the rumors, and was ridiculed by the girl and her friends, who were hosting a party. That was when I found the bruised and injured Aaron. His curled up, vacant, and desperate appearance in the shadow reminded me of myself lying in the dirt years ago. That's why we understood each other best. I overly demanded dignity, and so did he. We were the same kind of people. Aaron. We only came together because we were both hurt, licking each other's wounds. I thought those who were hurt would understand how to protect each other best. But I forgot that such people also know how to hurt the deepest. I looked at Aaron, who was still trembling, his fists clenched. For many nights, I sat alone in bed, desperately wondering why. What did I do wrong that made you unwilling to talk to me? Unwilling to come home? I couldn't understand. Aaron's voice shook as he replied, No, you did nothing wrong. I was just confused. He stammered incoherently. Leah came back. She came looking for me, just like I did for her back then. So you felt you reclaimed your dignity. But it wasn't enough. You thought of me, wanting me to beg you humbly, using my dignity to fill your emotional void. My voice was also shaking. I spoke the words with near disbelief, a greater sorrow washing over my heart. No, that's not it. Listen to me, Lauren. I was actually not. Aaron futilely denied it, nervously stepping forward, which I quickly dodged. The steadfast and gentle young man finally crumbled to dust before my eyes. I gasped sharply, feeling both sorrowful and ridiculous. Aaron, you disgust me. My colleague noticed the tension, rushing over to stand between us. I trembled, gripping her arm for strength. So awkward, so undignified, but looking at the terrified, readied Aaron, and the colleague standing firmly in front of me, an absurd shattering sound echoed in my heart. There was absolutely no need to maintain this relationship for the sake of dignity. It brought me nothing but pain. Over-dignity would never make me happy. Throwing away the rotting things and accepting occasional disarray, that was true dignity. The ringing in my ears faded, and I finally heard my colleague's anxious voice. Lauren, what's wrong? Are you okay? I'm taking you to the hospital. I forced a smile. I'm fine. I feel better than ever before. Over the past year, I had spent so much mental energy on internal struggle and forcibly maintaining appearances that I couldn't fully dedicate myself to my work. Now, I was once again passionate about my job and life, taking advantage of a business trip. I visited handicraft stores in unfamiliar cities, collecting beautiful and unique artifacts for myself again. I loved the small, time-worn shops tucked away on street corners. The owners would sit on folding chairs, fanning themselves, slowly telling me the story behind each item. Every time I found a small object filled with history, I felt surprised and happy. I started learning pottery. I used to be afraid of dirtying my clothes and spending a lot of effort only to produce a failure. But now, I would sit in a corner all afternoon, presenting a wobbly little bowl, and laugh about it with the owner. The more I practiced, the better my creations looked. I arranged to pick up my latest piece after work. I stepped out of the office, filled with anticipation, and saw Leah instantly. She couldn't enter the building, so she was waiting for me at the entrance. Lauren, Leah called out behind me. Seeing I didn't respond, she rushed forward, trying to grab my hand. I shifted sideways, avoiding her. Are you that bored? Leah looked at me angrily. What did you say to Aaron? Why is he ignoring me lately? If you want to see him, ask him, not me. Leah folded her arms and raised her voice. If you hadn't badmouthed me, why would Aaron ignore me? Lauren, you say you gave up, but you're actually still clinging to him. People nearby deliberately looked over. Leah had a look of triumph. I found her quite amusing. She probably still thought I was the overly sensitive person I once was. MS. Leah, why a cheating man ignores his mistress is something you should ask him, not me. I'm not interested in your garbage relationship. I also raised my voice. If you are so capable, go persuade him to divorce me quickly. Don't wait for the court summons to be delivered to him. The onlooker's eyes changed. Undulating murmurs of judgment were directed at Leah. Watching Leah's face fall, I smiled at her and walked away. I had recently been negotiating with a very important client. I prepared materials diligently for a week and arranged a dinner meeting. Because my preparation was thorough. The client was very satisfied. The client raised his wine glass. I'm pleased to partner with you. The excellent Ms. Lauren. I smiled, raising my glass in return. But another hand took my glass and gently clinked it against the client's. Of course. She has always been excellent. The client and I turned, equally confused, to see Aaron standing courteously beside me. And this is... Aaron jumped in to answer. I am Lauren's husband. Pleasure to meet you. Ex-husband. I interrupted him, giving the client an apologetic smile. A small lingering relationship issue. I apologize for the intrusion on our dinner. I took a document from my bag and handed it to the client. This is the detailed proposal for the project. Please take a look at it. I will be right back. Setting down my glass, I grabbed Aaron's clothes and pulled him outside. Aaron, what are you doing? Aaron looked startled by my question. I just thought you two were. Instead of bothering me, you should go sign the divorce papers with me. Aaron's expression darkened again. I don't want a divorce. Aaron, save some dignity for yourself. Aaron's face turned pale at my directness. He pulled out the ring I had thrown away. Lauren, I know I was wrong in the past. Can we truly not start over? He actually found the ring I threw away so long ago. I looked at the ring I wore for 3 years, now carefully held in his hand. But it was too late. No, I was decisive. I know you won't get back together with Leah. And you should know I won't come back to you. Aaron stood rigid, as if I had exposed something he refused to admit. He was silent for a long time, then whispered, Do you really not love me anymore? I shook my head. I stopped loving Aaron a long time ago. I only ever loved the young man who warmed himself with me. He died in the past year. A sudden shock hit Aaron. He swayed, struggling to maintain his balance. His large frame suddenly looked utterly defeated. He opened his mouth but said nothing. I walked past him toward the restaurant. As I passed him, I heard him whisper, I agree to the divorce. I stopped but didn't look back. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Aaron and I dated for 4 years. And were married for 3. During those years, we always understood each other best. We knew where the deepest scars lay. And we knew each other's excessive demand for dignity. We came together to find warmth, believing we had found salvation. But neither of us was truly healed. Just as I never dared to step into a psychological clinic, our minds remained troubled. That's why Aaron turned his attention to the returning Leah. The person who once stripped him of his dignity was now bowing to him. He immersed himself uncontrollably in the feeling of restored dignity. That's why, even when I was constantly neglected and felt my love fading, I desperately maintained the illusion of a strong marriage, thinking I was still protecting my dignity. But we both failed. When Aaron ignored his legitimate wife in front of all his friends and invited Leah to dance, thereby completely shattering my dignity, the taut string in my heart finally snapped. The breakdown gave me a moment to breathe. I finally walked out of the trap of overdignity. If my feigned composure had already been seen through by others, and if my dignity couldn't make me happy, then I didn't want that forced dignity anymore. The dirty little girl who fell on the street that year was finally reborn after breaking. I took the file from the CEO. Due to my outstanding performance, the company was sending me abroad for a year of exchange and study. I smiled at the CEO. I promised to complete the assignment. I stepped out of the company building. The sun was shining brightly today. Aaron's epilogue. I agreed to divorce Lauren, even though I still loved her. It took another month to officially receive the divorce certificate. During that time, I considered revoking the divorce application countless times. But every time I reached the Civic Affairs Bureau, I remembered her words. She said, Aaron, save some dignity for yourself. Just as I knew how to hurt her, she knew how to extinguish my hope. I started drinking heavily every night. I drank cup after cup, but the longing never diminished. Sitting alone at home, cradling a glass, I think I finally understood her pain. In those days and nights, was she hoping for a response with the same desperate, hopeless anticipation? I was terribly wrong. I wanted to tell her. I never loved Leah for a moment. I was just flattered by her submission. If Lauren had only come to my office, she would have found that I was living there, waiting for her to seek me out. When I sobered up from that petty triumph, I couldn't believe I had treated Lauren that way. I was afraid to admit that I wanted to tear apart her pretense with my own hands. I, too, was trapped in the mire of excessive dignity. but I tried to climb out by hurting her. She is right to hate me. She can scold me all she wants, as long as she is willing to turn back and give me one chance. I swirled the last bit of wine in the glass, tilting my head back to drink. The wine and tears streamed down my face together. She won't come back. I know it. Just like the year she reunited with her mother. The pitiful-looking woman recognized her daughter instantly and rushed up, wanting her back. I stood in front of Lauren, keeping her mother away. Behind me, Lauren spoke every word clearly and solemnly. You said you weren't my mother. I don't have a mother. Later, she stood in front of me. I stopped loving Aaron a long time ago. I only ever loved the young man who warmed himself with me. I was the one who lost her. Now, I only dare to watch her from the shadows. I watch her laugh and talk with colleagues. Watch her create beautiful pottery. I watch her board a plane, flying far away towards her future. Lauren, I wish you happiness.